4 words that'll change your life. I do it anyways. Tired? I do it anyways. No support? I do it anyways. Scared shitless? I do it anyways. Afraid of failure? I do it anyways. Fear of rejection? I do it anyways. You don't build an amazing life or business or relationship by waiting for the perfect moment. You do it by showing up every day, regardless of how you feel. You do it anyways. That's how you win the game of life, with the mentality of I do it anyways.
There's a choice that we have to make as people, as individuals. If you want to be great at something, it's a choice that you have to make. We all can be masters at our craft, but you have to make a choice. What I mean by that is there are inherent sacrifices that come along with that. Family time, hanging out with your friends, being a great friend, right? Being a great son, nephew, whatever the case may be. There's sacrifices that come along with making that decision.
Your worst chapter is not your last chapter. What if what I've gone through is exactly what somebody else is going through? And if I can help somebody else build a bridge, then why not give it a shot? And I think for me, someone once said to me, to my face, the moment you can take the hardest thing in your life and take more from it that it took from you, your life will change forever.
And you know what the definition of crazy is? The definition of crazy is being able to see and do things that nobody else can see. That's all crazy is. If you haven't been called crazy, you've done nothing in your life. If you haven't been called off, if you haven't been called insane, people always ask, man, people go, man, what's wrong with Grover? You know what my answer is? Everything. I'm not afraid to be off. I'm not afraid to speak my mind.
Just take action, keep doing it, keep doing what you're doing, keep moving forward. And actually pushing the edges showed me that coming back to the center is a blessing.
Appreciating the mundanity, the small moments.
I'm at the point in my life right now where I'm just locking in. I can't keep worrying about distractions and things that ain't serving my purpose, because everything I do now depends on how my future looks. So I'm locked in and I'm focused.
The biggest business you won't have to manage is your life. You know what I'm saying? Outside of all your other businesses, the business of your life has to be managed first. You know what I'm saying?
The tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy of life lies in having no goal to reach. It isn't a calamity to die with dreams unfulfilled, but it is a calamity not to dream. It is not a disgrace not to reach the stars, but it is a disgrace to have no stars to reach for.
There's fucking excuses here. And every fucking excuse that you tell yourself, every lie that you tell yourself, every fucking little story you tell yourself about not being able to do what it is you want to do because of whatever it is, that's just you telling yourself another thing that will keep you where you are for a longer period of time. And where you are is somewhere that we don't want to be.
Fear of failure. Fear of failure can keep you from taking risk. It can leave you sitting there paralyzed into not taking action. But I don't want you to overcome fear of failure. I want you to be afraid of failure. Fear of failure is good. Fear of failure will keep you up at night planning, rehearsing.
But in order to become that somebody, you've got to discover, what is it that my body loves doing? What is it that my mind can't keep off of it? What is it that keeps me up at night? What is it that stirs me up when I see it? What gets me emotionally involved, engaged, and connected?
Fear of failure will keep you training hard. Fear of failure will stop you from cutting corners. Fear of failure will keep you working, thinking, striving, and relentlessly trying to be more prepared for battle. So I want you to be afraid of failing.
Because you found your calling. And calling is the exact word you want to use, because your passion and your purpose have been calling you before you were born.
If you wake up in the morning and you start having negative thoughts, man, this ain't my day. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I just don't feel myself. In the middle of the day, if you feel yourself doing that, just stop for a second and start going over in your mind everything you have to be grateful for. Everything you already have, because what you have is substantial. You just haven't gone over the list and taken inventory in a long time. There is no secret. There is no quick fix. There is no hack. There is no path of least resistance. The quickest way for you to go from where the you are to where you want to be is that you're trying to avoid doing.
But I'll tell you right now, you might not be in control of what the world gives you, but you're always in control of what you accept. This life is not an external battle, my people. This life is an internal war. Your greatest battle is here. So my question I want to ask you right now is, what are the things that are in your control that you can change right now? You can control and change the internal dialogue that you're having within yourself.
I want you to be horrified, terrified of sitting on the sidelines and doing nothing. That is what I want you to be afraid of. Waking up in 6 days or 6 weeks or 6 years or 60 years and being no closer to your goal. You've made no progress. That is the horror. That is the nightmare. That is what you really need to be afraid of, being stagnant. So, get up and go. Take the risk, take the gamble, take the first step, take action. And don't let another day slip by.
The very thing you're pursuing in your life is very simple. It is fulfillment. That's it. Now, I sum up fulfillment very simply. How do you feel about yourself when you're by yourself? Do you feel good? Do you feel like you're making the most of your life? Are you tapping into what the Greeks called technique? So you really have to work hard for a set of skills that matter to you. Now, the skills have to matter. That's a key part of the equation. Once the skills matter to you and they allow you to serve not only yourself but other people, and then you actually go and serve those people, but I want to make sure that everybody understands the game that you're playing is a game of neurochemistry. A fool never learns. A smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others.
The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Before you even know what you're supposed to do, your steps are already lined up, but you got to get it locked. You got to go after it. You got to want it. It will not just show up. It's got to be something that you pursue and that it means the world to you. It's got to be something that if it were for free, I would still do it. But because when you go after the thing that you're called to do, your calling will take care of you. Money and things that you were worried about, you don't have to concern yourself with that. It will make a way, but only when you make that way towards your passion.
Each of us must turn inward and destroy in himself all that he thinks he ought to destroy in others. Each of us must turn inward and destroy in himself all that he thinks he ought to destroy in others.
See, we want to grow, but we want to stay liked by everybody. I was willing to be my own rescue at the risk of your approval. Most of us aren't like that, but we want to be liked. Well, I woke up and I like myself today, so your like is extra. My job is to like me first.
And you're chasing a dream, when you're sacrificing, when you're going for things, and how do you get to a space and place? It says not failure, but low aim is sin, right? It's all right to fail and seek of those dreams, goals, and aspirations, but when you be careful that you're reaching for the stars that everybody you love don't get burned up by the heat, that's a totally different animal, right? When you're reaching for it, how can we look at it, self-assess, and look at it in such a way to where, all right, I got my goals, my dreams, and my aspirations, but what is this going to affect?
When I wake up in the morning, I don't think, am I motivated to go do what I'm supposed to do? No, I don't think about it for 1 millisecond. When your alarm clock goes off, I have no thought about whether this is easy, whether this is hard, whether I want to do it, whether I don't want to do it. None of that matters. It's an emotionless, thoughtless discipline. When the alarm clock goes off, you get up, you get out of bed, and you go do what you're supposed to do. I don't care how it feels. I don't care if it's easy or hard. It doesn't even matter to me. It's just a reaction, it's a discipline, and it's life. And that's the way I choose to live my life.
You're gonna go to a new level, and every time you get to a new level, you're gonna face a new devil. But when they come at you, there is something different about you now. You see, all those stones that they threw at you when you were young and immature, when you were insecure and didn't know what you were about to become, those bricks that they've thrown, I need you to realize that was a foundation for you to build a platform for them to be able to see you at your next level of elevation, wherever it is that you are going. They couldn't have gotten you there any better, but by throwing those bricks at you, they gave you the material that was necessary to be more, so you can do more.
You know, a lot of us, we stuck. We stuck in a season. We stuck in grief. We stuck in pain. We stuck in just average. We just stuck in the day-to-day. And there's some things that we need to move on to. Let me say this. It's hard to move on when you have programmed yourself to focus on what you don't have, y'all.
You need to continue to dream of your future. Praise God. Continue to dream of your future. But stay in the present and work on it. Some of y'all, your problem is you dream too much. You dreaming so much, you ain't doing no work. But God told me very closely, wake up in the morning and dream of the Nobel Prize, but get up and make the bed.
When you think about where you are, where you're going, and what it is you're trying to accomplish, there's only two ways you can be. You can be the person who learns a little bit, who does a little bit, and then who decides that this really isn't for them, and moves on to something else and repeats that cycle over and over and over again. Or you could be the person who's committed. You could be the person who says, this is going to fucking work no matter what happens.
You can't read somebody else's book about some theory on how to do some guy who sat up in their nice warm office and wrote some book with a nice cup of coffee in hand. No, I want to see that guy who immersed himself in hell. And he thought about quitting and leaving and his wife and his kids. And why am I here? Is it worth it? All this crazy shit. And found out a way to get through it. We have pain, we have suffering, we react. And we react about, get the f out of here. It's those people who are able to control that feeling of flight and say, no, motherfucker,
there's a way through this. It's going to end. It's going to end, but we don't know that. We don't think that. At that time, these going to last forever. So what keeps me going? I quit several things. I know what's on the back end if we can quit. It's a lifetime of thinking about why the f did I do that? And I ain't doing that no more.
Question yourself. Question yourself every day. Ask yourself, who am I? What have I learned? What have I created? What forward progress have I made? Who have I helped? What am I doing to improve myself today to get better, faster, stronger, healthier, smarter? Is this what I want to be? This? Is this all I've got? Is this everything I can give? Is this going to be my life? Do I accept that? And realize that all of us can do better. We can be better. And it starts when you begin to ask those questions. So ask the hard questions of yourself and find the path to progress and discipline and to freedom inside the answers.
I am no longer going to be watching any football, and I'm no longer going to have Netflix at all. And that is what I'm giving up for 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's what I'm sacrificing. And I think a lot of people create these to-do lists when, in my experience, it's been so much more useful to write down all the things that I'm willing to sacrifice. Because if you sacrifice everything, there's nothing left than to do the one thing that matters. Most of everyone who's listening to this who isn't achieving what they want is with their time. They think that they're spending all their time working, but you don't even know how to work. I'm being really real with you. Like, you think you know how to work, you don't know how to work. And I'll measure this by, like, what is your output? It's probably not as high as you think. And so rather than trying to learn all these productivity hacks, the ultimate productivity hack is no. N-O.
Where would you be if you observed and judged your own behavior the exact same way that you observe and judge other people's behavior? They watch people do things and they're like, why do they act that way? Why do they make those decisions? Do you ever stop to ask yourself those questions? What if you gave yourself the criticism that you so easily dish out to other people? You got no problem being the armchair quarterback of everyone else's day-to-day lives, but you don't stop to look yourself in the mirror. If you questioned your own behavior, your own thoughts, your own decisions, just like you do everyone else, I guarantee you're going to find a lot of problems that you're going to want to solve. Problems that if you solved them, you could change your whole life. And you're never going to figure any of that out if your eyes are on everyone else. You're going to spend your whole life focusing on problems that you can't solve.
At a point, you just have to start doing it for a love of the game. I've said this many times before. Living a life of fulfillment and purpose is war. And to be more specific, spiritual war. But also, it doesn't mean it has to be this dreadful thing. Like, yeah, it can certainly be treacherous, there's no doubting that. But there's also kind of a beauty there. Something like a dance or a hauntingly beautiful poem. So like, yeah, it can be hard sometimes, but now such a statement seems so shallow.
If you're listening to me right now and you can hear these words and you're somebody that struggles with self-doubt or imposter syndrome, I'm going to tell you something. The research about confidence is very clear that confidence isn't a feeling. You don't feel confident. Confidence, the definition I want you to really embrace and live by, is the willingness to try. Because every time you try, especially in the face of doubt, you are displaying that you believe in your ability to survive whatever happens next. And so it's in the trying that you show yourself that you are capable of trying something and failing. And what makes you feel full of doubt and imposter syndrome is that you sit in your head and tell yourself you can't. And every day that you wake up and you don't do the thing, whether it's going to the gym or asking that person out, stop doing that. Stop. And the second that you take action in a different direction, you start to see yourself differently.
Insert emotion. I'm nervous, I'm excited, I'm whatever. I was like, you know, if you weren't, I'd be worried about you. Because this is a serious commitment. And so the fact that you're nervous or the fact that you're afraid makes you just like everyone else who succeeds. But you know what you have in common with a lot of people that absolutely change their lives? They say the same thing. Do you associate this negative feeling with being the successful person they want to be?
That's not an easy task because we all are trying to be something, but we already are that something we're trying to be. That doesn't mean you can't be better, but it's like accepting and appreciating what you really are, and instead of projecting, you know, something else, takes a lot of pain out of your body to take, gets a lot of fears to just disappear. And I don't have an easy path for that. I think it's the hero's journey. You know, what is it? Your life is ordinary and everything seems fine, and then something hits you, and it's the call to adventure. It doesn't feel like a call. It feels like somebody in your family's got cancer. It feels like, you know, COVID and somebody shut down your business, you know, or, you know, some issue that's happening in a relationship with your kids. But if you take the call and you go on the journey, you're gonna meet some new friends, you're gonna find some new mentors, you're gonna, you know, you're gonna battle with internal things within you and external things. But if you keep going, you're gonna eventually slay your dragons and you come out and the hero of your own life and you have something to share. It's not something you read somewhere, it's something you've lived. It makes life really, really beautiful.
Becoming closer to your vision, becoming the person that you strive to be, does not demand perfection, but rather the persistent and pure desire for better and for good. It's easy for us to get hyper-fixated on not making a mistake or not making a wrong turn. And we start to overanalyze and paralyze ourselves with fear or doubt. It makes us hesitant in the way we pursue action. And hesitancy is not good. You know, these mistakes, these failures, these wrong turns ultimately do not matter. The only thing that is demanded of you in order to make the changes that you want to make is the pure and persistent desire to be better and to be good. And this, paired with time, anything can be.
You see this? An hourglass. It's a perfect reminder of how time flows. The sand at the top, that's the future, completely out of your control. Sand at the bottom, that's the past, already gone. But this, the flow in the middle, that's the present, and that is where life happens. You can't speed it up, you can't slow it down. All you can do is focus on this moment.
One of the things that I'd like to teach people when there's a problem, and we all have problems, not all of us can deal with the world and war, but we can deal with our own problems. When a problem comes up, one of the best things to say is, all is well, everything is working out for my highest good, and out of this situation, this so-called problem, only good will come, and I am safe. And you know, this is something that's very powerful. All is well, everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this experience, only good will come, and I am safe. And what that does, it quiets your mind down.
You cannot grow, you cannot mature, you cannot get better. You can't become anything of value to yourself or to anyone else if you shut the door to regrets. Now, you don't let regrets drag you down. You don't let them destroy you. All right, I've talked about this before. You don't let the man that you used to be destroy the man that you are today or the man that you're trying to be today. All right, but balanced regret is what helps you become a better man. Unbalanced guilt is what destroys you. Unbalanced guilt of who you were and what you were in the past or today destroys you. Balanced, open-eyed, thoughtful regret of poor decisions you made in the past is what helps you build and become better and become stronger. That is that check valve that helps you not make that decision again.
Make a promise and keep it every single day of your life, and you will no longer be afraid of yourself. The fear only comes from uncertainty, and if you don't know what to expect from you, that's what gets you in trouble. If you're a thoughtful person with strong intention,
it probably feels like everyone's against you, so you better get on your own team so you don't feel alone. When you're on your own team, keeping the promises, you will sacrifice a lot. But I will tell you from experience that the sacrifice is worth every single moment once you realize you don't have to bear the emptiness that consumes all too much of this world.
What kind of permission do you need? To do the thing that you and I both know you really want to do? The thing that not everyone is going to approve of, but you know you're meant to do? What kind of permission do you need to get up and get after it? Yes, there's some risk, mostly just a bruised ego, but you know what's a hell of a lot worse than that? Living with the regret of inaction. Knowing the thing that you need to do, the scary steps that you have to take to grow into the person that you know you want to be, and doing nothing. So if you need it, this is your permission slip. Go do what you need to do.
It says life is not linear, it's cyclical. Accepting this allows us to flow with the process instead of resisting it, like we just said. Understand that life is cyclical. You are going to move in cycles as an individual, right? So don't get so emotionally attached to the seasons where everything feels good that you think that that's how your whole life should be forever. Because the moment it isn't that, you're gonna feel like everything's hitting the fan. Something's wrong, you're doing something wrong. You're gonna internalize that and identify with that. Just because you don't feel good doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Just because things are difficult does not mean you're going the wrong direction. No, it's a part of moving in the right direction, and you have to be willing to embrace those times, understanding they're serving a greater purpose. You have to remind yourself of this. Understand it is serving a greater purpose. This is part of the journey, and it will not last forever.
And so many people, they need to have a 5K, a 10K. I need to have a course in front of me. I need to have something in front of me for me to get my fucking ass up and do some shit. And that used to be me. And nowadays, you know, for the past 20-something years, I don't need a purpose. And people missed out on this, man. The purpose, we're all looking for this golden purpose. Is it this? Is it that? Is it making money? Is it my family? Motherfucker, the purpose is you.
This worrying thing, it's the one part of my life that if I could go back, I would fix. Even the things I've worried about in my life, when they actually happened, they weren't as bad in my body and in my mind as they were when I was worrying about them. And when you worry about it, you experience it hundreds of times. Your mind doesn't know the difference between this thing you think is gonna happen and something that really happens. And so the turmoil you're putting your body through and the debilitating effect it's having on your current circumstances, I actually believe that this is one of the most debilitating things you can do for your physical health, not just your mental health. And when it happens, interrupt the pattern, go change your physiology, do something to change your state. It's taking everything from your life, taking your joy, your passion, your peace, your energy, your focus, your determination, your resourcefulness. So please stop. And I'm talking to me as much as I'm talking to you. Give yourself a gift of controlling that imagination of yours, that beautiful mind of yours. Sometimes it's not about the things you need to do that make us successful. It's the things we need to stop doing that hold us back.
But I'll tell you right now, those weak habits, they gotta break. Your mindset has to be reshaped. You have to believe the odds are beatable, even when people say it's impossible. That's what I call faith. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that's what it's gonna take. 24/7, 365, you gotta live it, breathe it, be it every single day. You gotta conquer any challenge that gets in the way, and remember, it's more about what you do and less about what you say. So if your life couldn't say one word, what would your life speak? Would it still say you about that life? Would it still say you about conquering your struggle, creating new peaks? Would it still say you about getting the most out of your life? Every moment matters, especially when you realize over 150,000 people die every night. That's 55 million people a year. Ain't none of this promised. Ain't none of this guaranteed. So the question I'll leave you with is this. When you fight your last fight, when you breathe your last breath, if this was your last year, what's the legacy that you're gonna leave? Get up and go live your dreams. Make the world respect your greatness. Make this year your year. It all starts with you.
How do you know a dream is worth chasing?
I actually would like to flip that because I think a lot of people are waiting for a sign to know that a dream is worth chasing before they start doing it. And I think it actually